huge! They're ripping my flesh off!
Son, roll around. Jamie, roll around on the ground.
Forget that! I'm starting to swell up!
Save yourself! Don't be the hero!
Frank, allergic to bees? Me too.
They're huge and they're sting crazy!
We'll come back later and check on you.
Save yourself!
Your firearms are useless against them!
Holy shnikes, it worked.
Ahoy, tent pirates, plant parents, conscious consumers, and the morbidly curious. Welcome to Cultivation Conversation, a podcast for growers, by growers. Come chat with our hosts, Captain Autoflower, the Real Green Monster, and myself, Girl Go Grow. Grab a bouquet of your favorite flowers, apparatus of choice, and don't forget the fire while I tell you about the special companies that help keep this ship afloat. We are busy people, and we demand the best for our plants, so all three of us automate our grows with Autopots. Available in over 63 countries, gravity-powered Autopot systems rely on no pumps, no timers, and no power to operate. This plant-driven automated watering is so precise, it will reduce consumption of feed while increasing yield. An effective and efficient way to delegate a little responsibility. Let your plants feed themselves. Use code CC10 at autopot-usa.com. If quality is the name of your game, look no further than AC Infinity. AC Infinity's grow tents, lights, accessories, and ventilation systems offer reliability and affordability along with total environmental control. Use code CULTIVATION on acinfinity.com to save even more. Frass Valley produces the highest quality superworm frass. Naturally strengthen your plants and enhance their resistance to pests and disease. Use code CC10 at frassvalley.com. We are big fans of mass hydroponics. Whether you're a local in Massachusetts or accessing their full online catalog, they are your one-stop shop for all of your growing needs. Use code CC10 at mass-hydro.com.
What is going on, everybody out there in podcast land?
Howdy.
Hello, my darlings.
How are you tonight? Welcome back, everybody. New listeners, old listeners. We are one of the few shows for growers, by growers. We are a big community here, man. Look at all these familiar faces out there in the chat. We got Five Baked, Green Velvet, Master Yoda, Growing the Mitten. We got the Reverend here tonight. We got Stony. Man, it's like a gathering of like-minded souls throughout the caniverse. I love it.
Come gather around the campfire.
Norma, hey, I see you. Yeah, it's great, really. What a great time of the week, guys. And I get to see your lovely faces, man. I'm a lucky captain.
How are you doing tonight, Cap?
Ooh. Great. You know, just enjoying a little warmer weather. You know, I like to say that optimistically. No,
there are big quotes around that one. Warmer
today
weather.
Was cold as fuck. We call that the second winter around here. After that first warm pop, you get like that
full
real
spring
cold snap come back. Oh my god,
it's fucking bullshit. I'm ready for fucking summer. Go.
You and me both, for real. Yeah, I'm ready to put my window air conditioner unit in and crank my my electricity bill even higher than it already is. Hell yeah, bring it on. But so you ask me how I'm doing. I'm great. Part of the reason is my wife has figured out the fucking secret to canna gummies. Like, hands down, we have a batch for sleepy time. We have a batch for daytime. We got pineapple flavored, berry flavored, watermelon flavored. Like, it's awesome. It's like we're just going nuts on these extracts, and enjoying them. I must say, I haven't had a bad day since the gummies started rolling out of the kitchen. But this is what they look like, guys. Like, I mean, for real, like Haribo quality, like citric acid on them, like really tasty. Yeah.
Wait.
DM me.
Some.
DM me. I got you guys. But
do your daytime ones actually keep you up during the day, or does it still make you want to, like, every time I make gummies, they make me want to sleep, no matter what I use in them?
Fair question. And that has been my experience thus far with the gummies. And now I know we've had conflicting opinions on this subject, but personally, I find that strain selection does play a lot of which cannabinoids are going to be in the extract, like what type of entourage effect are you going to receive, that sort of thing. So my answer in a short sense is yes. Like, the daytime ones are just as, like I'm saying, they're good for daytime use. They do not put me down. They don't make me tired, but I like just float through the day. You know what I mean?
For me, what I've noticed with edibles is, as long as I'm consistently eating them, I get energy from them. As soon as I stop and you allow that
the edible crash.
Yeah. Night.
Okay, fair enough. Now, it's, interestingly, like the nighttime ones, the bedtime gummies, I eat those and I'm out like within an hour. 2 hours tops, not just during the nighttime either. That's why I say they are nighttime only, because I've tried twice now to, eat them. Like one time I did like pre-breakfast. Okay. And that was like, you ever take a bunch of Ambien and try to stay awake after that shit and you start tripping out, like seeing leprechauns and.
No, I can't say I ever.
No, I can't say,
dude.
That
It was that kind of thing. If you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, like it put me out like a light. Now, my wife may tell you it has to do with like not just the strain selection, but like how like caramelized you let the butter get. Like, she does find that like a darker color extract, more of like I don't know, maybe a more cooked, maybe it's more decarboxylated.
Yeah, taken to a higher temperature turns into CBN.
I think that's exactly it. Yeah,
there you go.
Higher temperature makes
CBN
the
is
CBN.
sleepy time.
It has to be that. So it's like, yeah, she's making CBN. Yeah, I fully believe that, like, it has a lot to do with the source material, and then like the way you process it. So yeah, a lot of factors.
Sense.
A lot of factors.
Absolutely makes sense though. Brilliant.
Yeah, but what about you guys? What you got tonight?
Walking on some prayer glue. About to roll one up. Got a couple of fat nugs here of choice.
Damn. That's a chonker.
Another one.
Ooh. See.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this stuff a lot.
I like the kind of like foxtail-y
Yeah,
I
it's
was thinking the same thing.
yeah, they foxtailed a lot actually, and it's consistent because I run it a couple times and just kind of the way it is. It's more strain dependent there.
I like it when you have the genetic foxtails. I think they're really pretty.
I don't mind them at all, and
Yeah.
the smoke's fucking great. So I mean, yeah, they foxtail, but there's some people who will, but who might not want to keep something like that around. But this is actually breeder's cut of Grey Glue from Mass himself, from Mass Medical himself. So it's the one he decided to keep around, and I'm glad he did.
Right on. Prayer glue. It's
D.
tough one to say. Mass Medical. Cool. Yeah, go check it out, guys, if you like. Would you call it a narrow leafer?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's a best of both worlds, honestly.
Cool.
You get that glue kind of like gassiness, sour, with the earthiness of the Prayer Tower sativa mixed in, and I mean, if you smoke enough of it, it will fucking knock your dick off. But it's good that if you just, a little amount, it's pretty good daytime smoke.
Cool. It's that overindulgence that'll get you.
Yeah, I'm about to overindulge right now. I'm gonna roll one up.
You may. You have my permission, sir. Well, yeah. What about you, G3? What you rocking?
Take a wild.
Mango Smile.
Yes, sir.
Until otherwise noted. All right.
Until otherwise.
Mango Smile. I don't blame the girl. Like she loves the mango terps, and they're back in her stash. So
I am definitely a fan of using the correct medicine at the correct time of day for the correct effect. And
amen.
This is the right strain for showed nights. Everything else, I'd be here. I'd be like,
fucking men. I've used the comparison before. Like in a lot of ways, cannabis is like music. Where like my music selection is affected by like my mood, the weather outside, my activity that I'm gonna be partaking in. Like they all can affect my music selection. Same with my strain choice. Like it's just, for me, variety trumps all, and it always will.
well, yeah, you've got like totes of varying types of things sitting around.
It's one of the.
You have the luxury to have choice.
Damn right I do. That's one of the reasons why I think home growing is a great thing, great hobby. If you're into this and you like your medicine, then man, the luxury of being able to choose your strain based on like, well, today I'm going to be going playing some pickleball at 2 p.m. and I'm going to want a not so sedative strain then, and then after that I'm going to go grab a taco, and then I'm really going to want the munchies for that. So like, give me something that'll, you hear me? Like just going to the dispensary and grabbing cookies A, cookies B, cookies C through Z. You're not going to get that. Period.
I have to say, I do like the state of Pennsylvania, how they list out all of their terpene profiles on all of their dispensary bud. That gives you at least an idea. I read something recently that said your THC is like your gas pedal and your terpenes are your steering wheel. So your THC percentage and all your cannabinoids are going to affect how intoxicated you feel and how much it affects your body. But your terpenes are going to affect what that does to you. If you have a whole lot of myrcene in it, it's going to be a whole lot of very relaxing. You have a whole lot of beta caryophyllene in it, it's going to be really good for your body. So your the high part is kind of the same no matter what, and then the terpenes kind of affect where it goes. Interesting concept.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I could believe that.
Yeah,
It makes a lot of sense,
terpenes
actually.
play a huge fucking role in this. That's why, like, if you're going to the dispo and asking for the highest THC available, you're doing it wrong. You're
Yeah,
missing out.
doing it wrong, son.
There are a lot of people, like, I spent some time on the PA medical marijuana subreddit, and these guys, like, guys, girls, all of them, they really know their terpenes, like what works for them. It's amazing how they've dialed in to exactly what they like. Like, there are people talking like, oh, I can't do high myrcene because it gives me anxiety, and I really like limonene over pinene for energy because of this or this. It's like, wow.
Well,
these people are really being able to do that with,
because they see that on each of their strains, and they can observe the effects of each of them. And
yeah, that's cool. Wouldn't it be badass if we had testing like that for home grows?
It would be awesome, but
Yeah,
in my opinion, 90% of those people don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I could give them a report that says what they want to see, and they'll smoke it and love it. I just
want to know for my own stuff. Tell me what's in my mango smile.
You know, Monster raises kind of an interesting point, like where it's those people who say like, oh well, I couldn't possibly smoke a myrcene dominant strain past 6 p.m. Like, let's switch up just switch the jars. Give them something that, just placebo effect. Like, you think it's a non-myrcene dominant strain. Like, how's that going to affect you?
I've had people that like, oh, I can't smoke heavy indica during the day. I won't be able to get anything done. Well, no, this is a heavy sativa lever. We smoke it, and they're fucking doing just fine. Or the opposite. Like, oh, I can't smoke anything sativa. It gives me a panic attack. And I'll fucking smoke some anaphylaxis with them, which is about as sativa as you get, and they're fucking fine. So, not to say that there aren't people tuned into their bodies enough to differentiate, or like they might actually like feel that way. But I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, I think 99% of people who claim those things are just fucking full of shit.
Dude, I have to concur. So placebo effect is kind of funny. Story time real quick. Like back in high school, back in the early aughts, the wild west days, there was a kid in my high school I was loosely affiliated with. Dude was not my friend. He was just like, the type of dude who would do the kind of thing I'm about to tell you that he did, which was he sold fake LSD. Okay, he would cut up like, intricate little looking paper into little sheet like squares, and he'd give it a little spritz of hairspray, just for that little tingle on your tongue. You know what I mean? Dude fucking sold a lot of this stuff, and people would come back and ask for more. Now that speaks to the idiocy of high school kids taking like, for the first time, perhaps taking psychoactive chemicals like that. Or maybe it speaks to the strength of the placebo effect, where like if you're told this is acid, you're gonna trip. What's that gonna do to you?
Who knows? Maybe that Aquanet will fuck you up.
Or maybe it was the hairspray. That's a great point too. I never thought of that.
I'm gonna try it.
No, bad idea, man.
I'm fucking joking.
Dude. Like, dude, I had people coming after me because at one point they thought like I was friends with this guy, and they like it could get to him through me. No, just honesty is the best policy, guys, with all things.
Yeah. What are you smoking on?
How did we get onto that? Fuck, I got some local skunk tonight.
Nice.
So, cheers. Oh, if my lighter will work. I think it's fresh out of fluid. Well, fuck me right in the gonads.
Sorry, can't hit the bong with Captain.
I know. I'm just as disappointed as you are. Hold on. Allie, if you can hear me, can you bring me a lighter, please?
I can hear you. Fuck off.
Get a Zippo, we got in the comment. I don't know if that's healthy, inhaling that kind of
no. Every time you open those fucking things, you fucking can smell the butane, for crying out loud.
I don't think so. But okay, so guys, tonight. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're the best.
Love you.
You have one right there.
Oh, fuck, really? I do. I do have another one right here. All right. Still love you. Oh my. All right. So tonight, guys, I want to pull the curtain back a little bit on a couple things, but I also want to talk about like leveling up our grows. Let's start there. We all like to think we've reached a point where we're like, oh, you know, I've mastered the basics. Okay, I know how to water. I know how to germinate. I have a loose understanding of nutrition and how it all works in the plant, stuff like that. We've had a couple successful harvests, even, you know. We're happy with what is coming out of our grow. Where do we go from here? How do we keep leveling up, keep improving? That's my question to you guys tonight, and everyone else out there.
Well, generally speaking, most people don't have enough automation, in my opinion. Especially
that's number one.
How cheap it is, really, and simple.
Amen.
It's really going to allow you to have consistency, and if you keep everything the same, it's going to allow you to dial in your grow and become a better grower. You know, if you're not constantly battling environment, you're going to have better results. And I don't think enough people truly take advantage of that.
Agreed. So we're talking you're saying automation, and what you really mean by that is like automating your environmental controls, using your fucking exhaust fan correctly. You fucking idiots, right?
Yep.
And why don't we go through it one more time, just to hammer the point home? How do we use our exhaust fan correctly?
So, just to be clear, I've actually spoke to AC Infinity about this because I wanted to make sure that I was doing it right. Okay. There's really only like you have your basic, forget about VPD for now. Okay. We're talking about just like manual operating without the app and all that bullshit. You have high temp, low temp, high humidity, low humidity. Basically, you want to pick one of those parameters and set your fan to it. So if you want to use your fan to regulate temperature, you have it set for whatever, 82, 84 degrees. You can also throw a humidity parameter into there to help you out at night. Say, I want this thing to kick on at above 65% humidity. It will also do that. Now, keep in mind, if you're trying to regulate temperature and humidity at the same time, it's going to be a little wonky. So I tend to really not use the fan that way. I keep my fan just for temperature regulation. If I need humidification, dehumidification, you could still use the AC Infinity, but you want to connect a UIS device as something like a dehumidifier or even a heater, certain things like that. You don't want to just put your fan on like 3 or 4 and on. You want to be using that bitch in auto mode. Right? And
correct.
Just to be clear, I don't give a fuck what VPD number you're hitting. If you're not running your LEDs above 80 degrees, you're doing it wrong. Get your temps up to 80, 82, 84. I'm cool with, right? And then match your humidity to that temperature to achieve the VPD number that you want. There's no other way. I don't care if you're running 73 degrees and whatever humidity and dude, my VPD's at 1 point fucking whatever and I'm crushing it. No, you're not. The plant can't transpire well. It's not going to metabolize. It's not going to photosynthesize at its fullest rate if you're running that cool. Rant over.
Facts. Mic drop. Just need like a hype man running around the stage now, like, oh shit, oh my god. No, it's true. It's 100% true. And now I add on to that real quick. Just like for me, I take 2 of those 4 variables of my exhaust fan out. Low humidity, low temperature. We're throwing them out the window. I set my parameters based on the high threshold of both temperature and humidity. So essentially my exhaust fan only kicks on if either the temperature goes above like 85 degrees or the humidity goes above 70, 75. And let's say I encounter a situation where it's like, it keeps being triggered by the humidity and thus drops the temperature farther down than I'd like in the low 70s, because it keeps triggering the fan. You got high humidity and it's like bringing in fresh air. I will purposely raise that threshold of humidity to allow more heat to build up in the tent.
Yeah, it generally shouldn't be a problem during the day because the reason why your humidity spikes at night is because the lights are out. It's just science. Temperature goes down, humidity goes up. So it really shouldn't be a problem, but I use mine the same way. And I only really have that high humidity setting there as a fail-safe in case something goes wrong with dehumidification at night. Because I've walked in before, say a dehumidifier fucking shits the bed, and you walk into a rainforest, like the walls are dripping wet. That's no bueno.
No, it's not. So, a question in the chat, like, so you guys aren't really worried about airflow, like fresh air coming in your tent.
Of course
right?
we are, but you shouldn't be relying on just your exhaust fan. That's why it's called an exhaust fan, to bring in fresh air. If your exhaust fan is going to kick on anyway periodically, then the other thing too, you can set a minimum speed on the newer AC Infinity controllers. You could put it on like 1 if you want, so it always stays at 1. I don't really like doing it that way, but I would recommend doing that way if you need carbon filtration, right? Because once the thing shuts off, you're not carbon filtering shit.
Gotcha. So, and my situation is that like my exhaust fan triggers on when the thresholds are met, and they're constantly being met. So my exhaust fan triggers on many times throughout the day. Okay.
Yeah.
If that were not the case, then yeah, I'd certainly want to set up some sort of timer where like it brings in a little bit of fresh air every couple hours or something. But other than that, no. I'm more worried about like air circulation in the tent, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah, because there are people that run sealed rooms with no fresh air and do just fine.
Yep.
So it's more about circulation, personally.
Agreed.
And you shouldn't be dependent on your inline fan to give you air circulation.
Agreed. So yeah, back to the leveling up discussion. Like, I don't know, like in a video game, what's the sound effect that comes on when you level up? You can all hear it in your head, I'm sure. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. It's like a something like that. So we're trying to do that as growers, guys. We can all, like, you know, improve just that little bit more, even once we're happy with where we're at. Like, you know, we're trying to just take it that next step. So perfect, Monster. The first place to go is automation, whether that's environmental automation, automatic watering. You know, we love our auto pots. No brainer. Okay. Automation. Now, I don't want to get quite into it yet, but like, there's the whole, we can talk automation with crop steering too. Okay. And crop steering is a term you're going to hear an awful lot about when you're looking for ways to level up your grow. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should just we'll just get right into it. Fucking crop steering, right? What is it? What does it mean?
Basically wet dry cycles, drybacks. That's what most people, when they talk to you about crop steering, that's what they're referring to.
Essentially, yeah. You know, they're manipulating,
controlling your environment.
But in a very specific way, G3, you know,
sure.
To be fair. Like, so we've
it's
made
micromanaging your environment. How about that?
I mean, yeah, I'd agree with that. Micromanaging, like, to the point of being annoying as fuck, perhaps, to your environment. But, like, all right, so crop steering is like this maybe newfangled kind of term, right? Like, if you're a seasoned grower, here you are, like, looking for a way to improve, like, your already decent quality, and like, and then someone comes out of the YouTube woodwork using this. You've never heard this term, crop steering. Am I steering my crops already?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Are we doing this, or is this, like, you know, like, I kind of feel like it's marketing lingo intended to make you feel inadequate as a grower to sell you products. Like, there's that whole aspect of the crop steering thing, okay? Anytime, and I challenge you guys to prove me fucking wrong. Anytime you hear on a podcast, a grow show, anywhere, someone use the term crop steering, they will try to sell you a very expensive product shortly thereafter. Like, oh, you're curious about crop steering there, huh, son? Well, by golly, I got just the product for you, boy. Let me tell you what. And what do you know? I sell it. I make it. I'm the sole distributor. Like, just prove me wrong, please. Send me a video clip of someone not doing that. I digress. And I agree.
So it's just a buzzword.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Okay. I agree with you, G3, where it's like, yeah, we are all already steering our crops, right? We are guiding our grows through a series of changes to the environment.
Right.
You know,
and some of us may be like white-knuckled, hyper-focused on the wheel steering, and others also are like eating a bowl of cereal on our way to work steering.
Oh.
Like, there's different levels of
like
crop steering involved.
Some of us are crashing cargo ships into bridges, and others are safely navigating the waters of the cannabis harbor, you know? Man, what the fuck happened there? It's beside the point. Driver smoking a doob on the security camera? God, I hope not.
Is that a thing?
No.
I didn't think so.
They got it.
Did I really miss something? No, it's just electrical failure.
They got a drug test for that job. I would think. I would think.
Look, generally speaking, like I said, when people are talking, we're referring to crop steering. They're really talking about like wet dry cycles, dry backs, things like that, and it's really not something the average person can practice without moisture meters and understanding how to read those moisture meters and understanding what it actually means, right? And it's something that a lot of commercial people practice, but the, it's kind of like what you said. Generally speaking, when you hear other people on other podcasts talking about this, guess what? They happen to have all the sensors and schmenzers and fucking shit you need to hook up just to be able to practice this. Now, you can go back on previous episodes. This is something I've been practicing for a long time, and Manny kind of pushed back on me for doing it, but I do dry backs in autopots a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a method to the madness, and no, I don't have moisture meters, but I kind of know what I'm doing, right? You got to be able to read the plants, and there's certain things you'd want to do. Like, for instance, when I shut my water off for a day and come back and turn it on the next day, I'm not giving them the full feed. It'll burn the shit out of them. I'm giving them basically a 30 to 40% feed, if that. Sometimes just even plain water. You know, when I hear the term crop steering, I kind of get aggravated. I feel like it's something that's really not like attainable for the average grower, right? And just by growing your fucking plant and the things that you do, like whatever techniques that you employ, you're crop steering, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know.
Just the act of like you changing the light cycle from like 18:6 to 12:12, like that's a form of crop steering right there. You're changing from vegetative to generative cues. Your plant's going to produce more flowering hormone. Like it's the essence of gardening. It's what we all already do, like intuitively. It's those small adjustments to our humidity, like from like high to a little bit lower at the end of flower, right? Same with temperature. Maybe we start at 84 and by the end of flower it's at 74, you know? We are all doing these things. And yes, Monster, like I agree. One of the primary components of crop steering and the way everyone discusses it, you will hear them talk about drybacks. Okay? Drybacks. And that's essentially like you're manipulating the moisture content of the soil in order to manipulate the plant transpiration process and thus the VPD. Like it's all kind of this linked chain of things, right? Like the VPD is driven through the drybacks and the transpiration of the plant. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to conceptualize until you just like slow it down. VPD drives the drybacks through transpiration. So if the plant's not like the VPD affects how much the plant can drink and uptake through the soil, and thus how much your soil dries back. Correct? So it's all a chain. So if your VPD is not right, your soil's not even going to dry back. Don't worry about it. Your plant's not transpiring, you know?
That's the problem.
It is. So like in chasing VPD, that correct VPD, we should all be achieving a certain level of dryback. Our plants are drinking. Okay? And like in my case, in organic automated watering situation, right? Like it's tough too, because in a show like this, you got to reverse constantly and go way back to the beginning. Like crop steering is in a lot of cases a term used for synthetic growers, right? They're in manipulating their dry back. They are like manipulating their EC, correct, Monster? That would be the term. Like their soil.
The EC in the root zone is going to rise, but the method and the madness is balanced stress to the plant.
So it's slightly stressing the plant out, and creating some like secondary metabolites and things like that too.
Supposedly, right? I don't know the complete. I'm not a scientist. I just know that the practice works, and you're right. It's probably more geared towards synthetic solid growers in cocoa or rock wool or whatever.
Well, in the videos I've watched and like kind of the research I've done into like crop steering, it's always a salts guy who's doing it using like very precise watering techniques and like a runoff table. They're measuring not only the soil moisture with very precise measurement tools, but they're like checking the EC of the runoff, that kind of stuff. Like they're very, very precise, right? For me, an organic guy using auto pots, I'm trying to glean something, some small bit of knowledge I can take away from this. What mostly to me just sounds like a used car salesman trying.
I don't think it would really work that well in soil. To get that dry in soil, you're just going to become hydrophobic.
That's the fear, right? Your biology dies if you allow too much of a dry back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't necessarily know about the biology dying, but definitely your medium is going to become hydrophobic, and it's going to have a hard time uptaking water if it gets too dry. We all know that
the soil gets hydrophobic. By that point, the biology, I would think, is long gone.
More than likely.
Like,
you'd be surprised. There's been people that have done tests in bone dry fucking soil after hydrating it, and it's full of life.
So like my basic question is like, all right, how can I as an organic autopot guy utilize dry backs or any of this stuff to my advantage? I mean, the short answer is like, you can do it. You can also do a bunch of other stuff. We've talked about a lot of them before too. Like using microbes specifically at certain times throughout the grow, like making like a tea, certain types of teas, like fungal dominant, bacterial dominant, fungal for flower, bacterial for veg, that sort of stuff. Like when these inputs go in, another big one is like sprouted seed teas. I know Joint in our episodes with him, he talked a lot about how he likes using that. And that's all like amino acids and like certain like hormones for the plant. And if you can provide those sorts of things at certain times throughout the grow, I mean, that what's more hands-on steering than that, really? So, I mean, for me as an organic guy, like that's what I think about when it comes to crop steering. I mean, and I do turn off my auto pots in my form of like hand watering on the top, my organic supplementation. I do turn off my auto pots at least once a week and allow a little bit of a dry back. I always have.
Oh yeah.
So, like, yeah, maybe that's achieving some result with my plants that I'm not even aware of. And like, I've been crop steering all along. I just didn't fucking know it. Like probably most of us, right?
Look, it's something that I would encourage everybody to do, to fuck around and find out a little bit, to just try a little bit of it. You just got to be careful, especially in soil. Don't go too dry. Otherwise, you'll have some issues. And when you do, if you're in cocoa and you're feeding nutrients, when you do reintroduce your feed, just make sure it's a lot lighter than you normally would, at least for a day or so. That's how I roll.
Absolutely, man. Now, you mentioned stress to the plant. And like, yeah, that's when people talk crop steering, they will often talk about like inducing some slight stress to then like get some reaction from the plant, okay? Again, me as an organic guy, like how am I doing this? You know what? I don't really subscribe to the like, you know, put a 6-inch kitchen blade through the stalk of your plant 2 weeks before harvest and it makes it produce adrenochrome.
Some of that stuff's a little extreme.
Like crazy methods, right? But I do use insect frass. We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Insect frass and like the exoskeletons of the plant. It's called chitin. 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 Chitin.
Yep.
The plants can sense when that's like there's an abundance of this thing called chitin, which is what insect exoskeletons are made out of, all around them. Some people say like the plants then think that they're being like eaten by bugs. They'd be like surrounded by, you know, plant eating bugs, and they need to then grow very fast and strong just to like not be overtaken by little insects in the soil. So
there are very expensive products out there with synthetically derived chitin called chitlisan. Like Canna Boost is one of them. It's retardedly expensive. It's like $100 for a liter or something stupid. Yeah, there have been supplements out there for years. I mean, chitin's the real deal, 100%.
Dude, I love the stuff, and you know, one of my like secret weapon kind of products, I would say, a lot of people don't talk about it. It's, you know, a little bit under the radar. It is a balanced fertilizer. 222 is the NPK on it. You know, you could just use insect frass and like probably grow a pretty decent plant, right? I wonder if someone just used insect frass and cocoa. Yeah, just a plant thinks it's surrounded by bugs.
So much anxiety.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I'm so
you fucking look. You like move too fast. You see the plant twitch. Like fucking.
Like the scene in Tommy Boy. Dude, Chris Farley comes out of the car. The bees! The bees! Oh my god! The bees! Yeah.
Hostile environment.
Battered plant syndrome.
That'll be the fucking opening scene right there. Tommy Boy. Oh man.
Rest in peace, Chris Farley.
Right. What a funny dude. So for real, like I think insect frass is a perfect example of trying to induce some sort of stress to your plant that is beneficial in an organic method, right? Perfect example. And yeah, I think this stuff is worth, like, again, as much as I want to caution everyone against the crop steering, like, shyster salesmen out there, I want to also encourage you to like get curious, watch some videos, like wonder if you can apply any of this to your own grow. I mean, it's kind of it's an interesting discussion. It is.
Absolutely. But besides stressing and automation, do you have any other thing in mind?
For leveling up, I do,
up?
man. I do, absolutely. So my first, after you've automated, after you've maybe explored a little crop steering, even before the crop steering exploration, you're happy with the harvest. All right, now you want to set up a perpetual grow. That should be your next step. You should always be harvesting, always be flowering, always be popping.
Agreed. 100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Whatever you need to do for that to happen, like whether that's 2-3 tents, whether that's just a perpetual garden in one autoflower tent, but like stagger your planting.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. You plant every 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Just plant a new seed every 3 weeks and keep going. You'll always have something coming down. Easy
Absolutely.
to do in an autoflower tent. Same life cycle the whole time.
With enough on-off switches, you could do it with auto pots too.
Yep.
What do you mean?
You could just still rotate them in and out with auto pots. Wouldn't
True.
have to
just keep everything on auto pots, but perpetual. I mean, that's
totally doable.
The way I set up the on-off valves on each pot.
Yeah.
Perfect to do just that. I was just thinking
it with the on-off valves are really the key to that.
Oh, they're huge too, especially if you have a fucking problem. Like it starts, every now and then you have an issue, you have a pot leaking. You got to shut off the whole system. If you with the shut-off valve, you can just shut off that one plant, isolate the problem, which is usually just a dirty aqua valve, FYI.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are having issues with flooding, it's usually because your valves are fucking gross.
Clean your stoppers.
Yeah. Or a root or a piece of perlite or something has got caught up in there, and you may not even see it the first time. But, shut off your water, take out the aqua valve, clean it out, reassemble it, and put it back in. And 99% of the time, that'll fix your problem. I've had other weird issues where, let's say you have a hose kinked. It can create a high pressure situation down the line and kind of fuck things up a little bit. I've had an issue like that before. But generally speaking, if you're having an overflow issue, it's because your valve is dirty. Clean them things.
Agreed. That's been my issue every single time it's happened to me. It's just aqua valve, silicone, little blue piece of silicone not seated properly or something blocking its proper function every single time. So, perpetual growth, pretty self-explanatory. Do what you got to do. That should be next step. After that, I think CO2 is a thing that we should be looking at. That I don't think is often included in most people's initial grow setup. Why would it be?
You got to have the lights first before you can do CO2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the thing. A lot of people aren't even pushing enough PPFD to take advantage of CO2. If you're pushing extra CO2 into your garden without the extra PPFD, all you're doing is raising your CO2 level. Your plant can only utilize so much CO2, and it's based on light and higher temperatures as well. If you are running CO2, you want to be running a higher temperature, even higher than 84, probably closer to 86.
And giving it a shit ton of light, too.
A shit ton of light and more food.
and more everything.
More everything.
So that's a lot more in for how much more out?
Well, a pretty significant amount if you do it right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but G3, like, it stands to reason that if your plant is in that kind of like turbocharged mode, it's going to be taking in more light, taking up more nutrients, all of that. Like, yeah, why wouldn't it get much bigger? I mean, maybe not much.
No, you can
bigger.
you 10-15% all day long.
Yeah, all right.
Yep.
That's, in I mean, shoot, that's pretty significant even in a 5x5. So, CO2 is like a frontier that like I have not gotten into. It's been like on my mind. It's I for half the year. Actually, for most of the year, I have a sealed grow space. My attic itself is sealed, and it has 3 tents in it. So why not try to increase the CO2 all
I
through
actually
the attic?
think that you could benefit from it a little bit more than most because you're in an attic and ambient CO2 levels are going to be low
It drops, right?
in an attic. Yeah.
CO2 is heavier than oxygen, correct?
So you may not even have like your typical standard 300 to 400 ppm of CO2 in the air. They make inexpensive meters, that aren't true, but it's like almost I almost just recommend you spend like the extra 100 or whatever and get like the whole setup. Like you can get a CO2 regulator, monitor everything for usually less than $500. Um, and I always try to steer people that way as opposed to like the bags or buckets or things like that. I just it's not really long term sustainable. Like
yeah.
it will end up costing you. You think you're saving money, but you're actually wasting it.
Well, like honest and to be honest, right? Like if when we're in the level up phase, okay? $500 ain't that much of an ask for a lot of people. Like a lot of the other options people are looking at are like, freeze dryers or like automated drying machines that are far more expensive than a $500 CO2 setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. It's just a lot of people don't. I think we were taught to avoid the CO2. Because a lot of us don't run like sealed grow spaces, okay? But like we do in the sense that like we're in like a grow room. Like your tent is in a room. Increase the CO2 in the room. Right? Like it seems easy, you know what I mean? Like unless you are like exhausting out a window constantly.
Yeah, if you're shoving air out a window, you're wasting your money.
Okay, I feel that. But like if like me, okay, in the wintertime, my windows are closed, my attic's sealed. In the summertime, I have an AC unit running. That's not like I guess it is exhausting some air from that unit, but not as much.
No, it's common to run CO2 with air conditioning.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So, like, yeah, for me, I think you're right. Like, it might benefit me a shit ton, and I'm curious now what my CO2 levels are in my tent. Wonder what like the cheapest
to know before and after.
The cheapest meter would be.
I think I've seen them for like $30-$40.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I'm looking right now.
Nice. All right. Well, so that's I think that's where a lot of people should maybe look is like Monza said, a sustainable CO2 setup with a regulator and a monitor. Right? You buy the tank once and then you just got to get refills.
Yeah, and depending on where you are, those shouldn't be too expensive. I pay $20 to $25 for mine.
Where would you get a tank?
You can usually get them at most hydro stores. They'll sell you the tank. The initial investment is the tank will probably run you like $100, $150, and then refills are $20 to $25.
All right, let's say you're like me and you live in Prohibition land, or it's 1995 and you don't want to like go to the grocery store and buy a tank of CO2 because that's fucking obvious what you're
Go
doing.
to your
right?
local brewery or mom and pop soda maker, and if they ask you what you're using it for, tell them you run a coral reef tank and you need CO2 for your tank. Whatever. There's many excuses. You brew your own beer.
You got your own kegerator at home. That's the obvious answer.
You want to, you make fucking homemade seltzer. There's so many different things that you can.
The answer is fuck you. This is America, goddammit. Sell me some CO2.
I don't even know if that link will work that I just sent there. It was kind of retardedly long. But yeah, Amazon has one right here for $18, $18.99. The reviews on it are pretty terrible. There's one I was looking at earlier. Actually, now that I just see that.
The reviews are pretty terrible.
We do not condone or support this necessarily.
Don't buy that. Don't buy that one. I'm going to find a better one.
The point is, you can get a pretty cheap setup. Maybe a little bit of an initial investment, but like, guys, if we've already we've got a couple harvests under our belt, like we should have some fucking money saved up, right? From all the money we didn't blow at the dispensary.
Oh, you mean the money that we spent on seeds instead?
Oh, fuck, that's right. We did develop a seed addiction along the way.
Oops.
God damn it. But my advice is to always budget a little bit for upgrades to your grow.
Invest back into
reviews on this one. Bloop, bloop. These ones are much better.
It's level up sound, I guess.
Even if just to have some extra, knowing that at some point a piece of your gear is going to shit the bed, like. You're going to have to replace something unexpectedly at some point.
Reading my mind.
So if you can, have a little tucked away just in case.
So an upgrade could also just be a new, the same thing you already have, but brand new. Because,
right.
Through usage over time, even with proper maintenance and cleaning and care, all things will pass, right? All things must pass. So your grow equipment will too.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because what I've noticed is when a lot of people upgrade, they'll get something that they don't need because they want it. I want you to step outside, not you, but everybody listening. I want you to step back and look at your grow and assess what you have and look at your weakest link and make it better. And what I'm really talking about is 99% of the people, they'll go out and they'll spend big money on a new light when they really didn't need it. Their other light was fine. It gave them plenty of wattage per square foot. It wasn't their weakest link. Something else was.
A dehumidifier.
Yeah, look, you go out and I can assure you this much. If you have adequate lighting, right, and your crop isn't coming out the way you want it to, buying a new light isn't going to make it any better. Matter of fact, it'll probably make it worse because now you have this new light, maybe pushing more wattage, more PPFD. Your plants are going to want more, and you're not even dialed in yet.
You don't even know what the fuck to do with that light, son. Like, you're going out buying all these expensive items, shit ain't going to help you. Just gotta learn how to grow first.
And that's not what people want to hear, but I'm just keeping it real.
I mean, real talk, though, and the realest of talk is that the most leveling up you can do is up here, son. You don't need to buy a fucking thing to level up your grow.
I don't know why, but I just pictured that douchey meme with that dude standing in the hallway with his fucking sideways hat. I don't know when you said that, when you did.
I don't know what douchey meme, but the point is it not a true point, right?
No, facts, man.
All right. As long as you
the more you know is as a grower, knowledge is fucking power, man. It really is.
You leveling up can happen in a variety of ways. Like, and when people use the term, like they often want you to like purchase some new stuff. It's what we just spent an hour talking about. But the reality is, guys, the bloop 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 bloop, the leveling up happens in your brain.
It does. I would challenge you to step outside your comfort zone. If you're a salt grower, look into how people grow organically. If you're an organic grower, look into how people grow with salts. I guarantee you'll learn something that you can incorporate into the way you grow, no matter what style you use. There's always something we can learn from others. And I feel like, especially as growers, you see a lot in the community. I mean, look, overall, I'd say the community is pretty supportive of each other. I mean, you have some cunts here and there, right? But like, I see a very like pig-headed, people not willing to learn from others or to be like, oh no, this is the only way to do it, type of shit. And I don't vibe with that. Don't think you fucking know it all. Be open-minded and want to learn and listen to others. And
hell yeah,
if you take that approach, you will learn something from somebody else, even if they do things completely different than you. Look, and sometimes too, you can find out what not to do based on listening to other people. So yeah, man. Like, there's a lot of things like people do, like, and then you look back at it and you're like, oh wow, I could see why your fucking plants look like shit.
That's right. That's exactly right. People make mistakes that you can avoid just by watching.
At the end of the day, I think what I want people to take from this, and we're all talking about upgrading and leveling your grow, right? But at the end of the day, less is more. Learn to read the plant first. The plant's the boss. If you know how to make that bitch happy, you'll be happy. Just like marriage, man. Happy wife, happy life. If you get that plant happy and thriving and healthy, you're going to produce the best herb that you can. Right? And how good are you going to feel when you produce that fire that all your buddies are like, dude, you got any more of that shit? Dude, break out some nugs of that stuff, Like you're at a party, everybody's smoking weed, and then you walk in and they fucking put it out of respect because it's fucking swag,
Yeah, that's right. Everything else is suddenly put to shame.
Yeah.
You mentioned learning from people that we don't grow the same as. It's like exactly what I'm trying to do with the crop steering thing. As much as I may think like people use it as like a marketing term, like I'm trying to learn something from all this. I'm trying to take something from it. And yeah, I like a salt grower should definitely listen to an organic guy and like watch some build a soil videos and try to like figure out like what are they doing? Can I use any of this? At the very least, to figure out how the opposition thinks, right? And then you know how to destroy them easier. But we're not trying to do that. It's all love. It's all grower love, isn't it? Isn't it?
We're here to learn.
We are. Sometimes it is sometimes the community is a little contentious. We can get trapped in our own corners, as it were. But guys, step outside your comfort zone and learn from everyone else doing it. A little bit, who's doing it a little differently in particular.
If something speaks to you, try it. If it doesn't, move on. If it speaks to somebody else, all right.
If it speaks to you, it's for you. It's the golden rule. All right, guys.
That's the cool thing about growing. You get to grow your way.
100%. And you know what's funny too? Like sometimes it's all timing too. Like you will hear terms that like at the time like your ears don't perk up. You know what I mean? And then like 6 months later, you hear the same term again, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, you know, maybe I could level up with that. So yeah, leveling up is just a process, and it happens naturally, and it's kind of like wherever your own mind takes you on this journey. It's a beautiful journey we're all on together. Yeah, guys, let's wrap her up tonight. I want to give a couple thank yous to new Patreons. Let me see. We have Anonymity Ape. Don't know who you are, but you're a primate. Thank you, sir. We have Crumbs. Thank you, Crumbs. Thank you very much. And we have Chucky Puppy. I hope you're not chucking puppies, Chucky Puppy. But thank you. Thank you, sir. We also have J.R. Kimbrough. Thank you very much, J.R. And that's all for this week.
Shout out to Johnny Apple's mom.
It's our biggest supporter, always has been. A shout out to everyone who joins us in the chat live. We love you guys. We love you. Everyone. Shout out to everyone in our Discord, which is free. You don't need to pay anything to come hang out with us, ask questions, post pictures, post memes. Whatever you want, man.
No dick pics.
You know the rules. If you are going to do that, we require
to Captain's
at
DM.
least one gourd in the frame. That's the rules. Monster like that one. We like our gourds. But yeah, thank you all, and thank you guys especially, Monster G3.
Thank you, sir.
Love you both.
A pleasure as always.
Love you too, man. Buying it.
Well,
it's
all my pleasure. Yeah. Oh, until next week, guys. We'll talk to you, and until then, whatever you do, don't get caught.